Hello, good morning. My name is Courtney Harris, and I am a child-centered and teen life coach. And if you are a parent of a teen or a tween or a young child, and you're looking for your family to live with deeper connection and with greater ease, then you are in the right place. And if you are looking to overcome anxiety, disconnect, or overwhelm within your home, or the overwhelm or anxiety that your child is facing, then keep listening. You're in the right place. So today I'm going to share some facts about the ways that technology and social media are currently impacting the way that our young people are forming their self-esteem or struggling to form their self-esteem. And we're also going to talk about the ability to connect authentically with ourselves and with others. So I'll be using the word ourselves because I believe that even as parents or as supporters of children and families that we are involved in this system as well. So we are working with a lot of the same challenges and struggles and working for a lot of the same end results of ease and deeper connection. So I'm hearing from a lot of parents and young people that there are big problems with our new ways of socializing, that there's a stronger push to just get a like, to just get the affirmation, and to almost measure our likability through these new ways of socializing. And I see what I'm hearing is a gap in this kind of authentic or deeper connection, and in turn there's less confidence, and our teens and our tweens are experiencing more self-doubt and perhaps even less self-worth. So I have a few statistics that I'll share with you today. So the first one I have is from the American Psychological Association, and it says that almost half of parents, or 45%, say that they feel disconnected from their families even when they're together because of technology. And so this is more than and then another 58% say that they worry about the influence of social media on their child's physical and mental health. So this is not a new statistic. This is not something new for you to consider. I'm sure it's something that you have been living with and working with for months or years now. And the statistics show that this is a true societal I want to say issue, but I also just think a societal element, honestly, that we need to deal with at this time. So parents are often telling me that their child is struggling with self-control. They'll pick up their device without even recognizing it. They might be in the middle of a conversation and they pick it up, they check their likes, they check their Instagram or their Facebook, and it's almost an impulse, right? It's almost something that they are not able to control. They're pretty disconnected from. And I'm also hearing that teens can become so engulfed by the device. And also, let me be clear here, parents as well, and adults are guilty of this, myself as well. But I'm hearing the pains of the parents, that as they're trying to engage with or talk with their teen, the teen is just becoming completely distracted, engulfed by the device, and not able to be present or attentive with their family or the people in the very room with them. So I have another statistic. It's from the Child Mind Institute, and here they say that social media and text messages have become, as we know, so integral to the teenage life that they're actually promoting more anxiety and lowering self-esteem. Now, as we're making friends and going out into the world and making connections, we're actually having to take risks, right? These are healthy risks. We're having to expose ourselves, be vulnerable, and so it is an element of risk-taking. So we have to step outside of our comfort zones in order to connect with other people. And we're also testing who we are in the world. So how does what we know and believe about ourselves work in the context of the world and work in the context of other people? And what are these people perceiving? What are they seeing about this person that we're bringing into the world? So this is what happens face-to-face. However, when our friendship is going primarily online via social media or via texting, we have much more of the discomfort or the uncomfortability might kind of be lifted because we're not actually seeing the other person's reaction, their facial expressions. We're not seeing how they're receiving our message, and there's oftentimes a wait time, right? If I send a text message to a friend, they might be busy, they might be at work, and they might respond in 5 minutes, but they also might respond in 5 hours. So in that time, the recipient can be crafting particular responses even, or it's just a distance, right, that takes the risk to perhaps a lower level, and it removes some of that discomfort. Another thing about the disconnect is that because we're not seeing the other person's responses, we might be more likely to say things that are unkind. We might be more likely to say things that, in fact, actually are a greater risk. That if we were going to say it in person, if we were going to give a criticism to someone in person, we might be choosy with our words. We might try to make sure that we're not going to offend them or hurt their feelings. But online, we might not be as concerned because we're not going to see how it hurt or impacted them immediately. Another thing about online is that, of course, we're using these likes, these retweets, and these favorites to gauge our likability, as I mentioned at the beginning. And so we're almost using this robotic action of double tapping to drive how we're perceiving others and then how we're in turn felt perceived by others. So if we get all of the likes, then we're feeling really well liked and we're feeling very confident, perhaps for a short period of time. So it should also be noted that there are some actual higher risks on social media, right, if this is the way that we're forming and maintaining some friendships, that we actually might be at some higher risk. For example, our content might be screenshot or it might be retweeted in ways that are actually unhealthy or used as bullying, used by bullies or used to make fun of us. And so it can actually be a greater risk because the material is documented in a public space and can be easily shared. So I also don't want to let that go without being said. So in the teen and tween years and even into the early 20s, these are the years that we become overly aware and very, very heightened sense of awareness over the differences that we seem to have between who we think we are and who we think others think we are, right? So we believe that we're a certain person, we believe that we have certain qualities, but then we also start to question that because we are trying to take in and test how others are perceiving us. And so this is the time that our identity formation is really taking off, and it's when it can become actually quite blurry and confused because we are trying out different identities in different spaces, and it might be very difficult to listen to the authentic one, or to even remember which identity we've created in which space, right? Which group of friends we behave a certain way with versus how we behave at home or with our church community or in particular classes or among certain groups of friends. So our self-esteem, by definition, is ultimately the consolidation of all these different identities. So if in some of our social media spaces or in some of our in-person spaces we are not being our authentic self, our whole self-esteem is going to have some incongruities or some lacks in alignment. And this is actually where we will start to feel that decreased self-esteem and experience that pain or the decrease in confidence. And so again, if we have these sort of pretend or false identities that we're practicing in the world, it is likely to make us we won't feel as good about ourselves. We'll feel perhaps some shame and some actual disconnect from our truest selves. So this leads us to communication, and quality communication is at the center of the ways that we relate to ourselves and to others. It's the way that we get things done, it's the way we connect, it's also the way we disconnect, and it is certainly a process. Because we currently have a wide range of communicating, right? We have in-person, face-to-face, as well as so many online avenues and venues. It is the time right now to directly address the ways that we are communicating with ourselves and with others, and that it's true that each communicative situation calls for different skills and calls for different abilities, and we need to specifically address these needs and actually talk about them. Not treat our social lives online the same as we treat them in person and just carry on the way that we have been. We need to address the pains and the incongruities that have come up so that we can all build stronger self-esteem and a stronger sense of self-worth. So quality communication is going to be our greatest pathway into getting into this alignment. It's time for us to ensure that engaging in communication serves us, that we are engaging in the types of communication and the types of interaction that is good for us and good for others, right? Not harmful, not something that is false that ultimately leads us to that lower self-esteem. We want to leave interactions feeling more confident and feeling like we are being authentic to ourselves and others. This type of communication is going to take time. It does not happen overnight. It is not a quick fix. It's not something that we can snap our fingers to achieve. It's something that requires practice, conversation, direct dialogue about communication, and it's going to be challenging. It's going to be painful. I know that for myself, as I practice becoming more present and finding time in my life to put my phone down, to separate from my social media, and to separate from the life that I have online, I actually have to dialogue about this. I have to talk about it with my partner. I have to hold myself accountable and actually be very intentional about it in order to make the changes that I truly want to make. And so the time and space for this kind of communication is going to be crucial. It is a process. It's not a quick fix. I would also like to acknowledge that because families have a great deal of emotional history and patterning that's been developing for years, especially if you have teens or tweens, that seeking support from a coach who can serve both the parents and the children in this process is going to be so helpful. Because you and your children have a lot of emotional history, because you have already routines that you've been in, you've probably had these conversations before, and there might be some baggage about it. It's important to find someone that can support both parties as you take this journey to help your child gain confidence and gain a stronger sense of self-esteem. And it's okay to look for help. It's okay to know that the support might need to come from outside of the family. And there are people like myself, there are coaches who are ready to support. And so if you are in this patterning, you know that you would like to seek help for your child and the ways that they're communicating and the ways they're developing their self-esteem online in real life, I would love to talk to you. And if I'm not the coach for you, I would love to see you finding a coach or finding a support that resonates with you, because now is the time. Now is the time for us to step up and make our changes. So do not feel ashamed. We all have to ask for help. Please know that these pains that we're experiencing are societal. We're going through them together. We're testing these challenges, and we're going to work towards results together. So I'm excited to hear what you all think, excited to hear how you connect with this message, and what are the ways that you're currently making quality time to have open communication with your teen and tween, or what are the challenges or barriers that are making this open communication difficult for your family. Comment below, and I can't wait to hear from you. Have a great day.